The fiscus Iudaicus is the great taxing of Rome coming back. Giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua B'Hashem Rakakwadash. I don't know where I'm going to go with this. I got a couple of tabs open, but I don't know what direction I'm going to go with this, but let's see where the Spirit leads me. Giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua B'Hashem Rakakwadash. Giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua B'Hashem Rakakwadash. Not Christ, not Jesus, not Jehovah, not Yahweh, not Yeshua, but not Allah, but to the supreme power and his beloved Son and the Holy Spirit, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua B'Hashem Rakakwadash. Let's see where the Spirit takes me. So let's deal with this here. The fiscus Iudaicus, the fiscus Iudaicus of or Judaicus. Now, back in Rome, when they taxed the Jews, they called them Iudi or Iudaicus, not Judicus, because the letter J didn't come about, as we proved to you in other videos. The letter J is an extension of the I. And I believe it was Tracino that came up during the time of the Renaissance. They came up with the Renaissance art. They came up with the Renaissance language, if you will, or alphabet. And the word Jesus came about during that time or after the time of Tracino in 15, to give it a year, 1524. That's when the letter I, that's why you read this word here, Iudaicus, not Judaicus. I'm still under the weather, please forgive me. But anyway, so when any church person that calls on Jesus, they're not deep, they don't understand the history. And if you thought you saw Jesus, would you look like a white man? You call him Jesus, he might look at you. But if you actually saw the real Messiah and you call him Jesus, he's not going to answer you, because that's not his name. For you dumb monkey-minded, Jakes in the church, you're monkey-minded. Your brain dead. Oh, and the video that Vocab put up with the woman, the Jake woman, that's a follower of Vocab. The brother, I forget the captain's name, on the ISUPK, he pointed it good. Because he said, what color is Christ? And then at first he said Middle East. He said, what color is Christ? What you mean the Messiah? She said he was Middle Eastern. The people in the Middle East, even today, are dark-skinned people, except for the small hats, which they got in there around the time of, officially was 1948. But they were actually here in the past, but they were south. Some of them was among us, but they were south of us and also north of us. It says, and mingle among us. So you did have so-called white people around there, but the majority of the people that were there were dark-skinned, as she said, Arab-looking people. I showed you that Arab people look, there's Arabs, if you've never been to the Arab world, the various nations out there, it's totally different. Like Mexico, when you watch movies about Mexico, documentaries, they only show the light-skinned people. I went down to Mexico. There was nothing but dark-skinned people there with afros. So they what they do is they'll make sure to take pictures of white-looking Arabs. The majority of them Arabs got woolly hair, dark skin, look just like Negroes. And you talk to your brother, they start talking to you in in Arabic. So when she said, "Oh, he was a Middle Eastern guy, dark skin," well, you pretty much described the Negro. It says the fiscal, and we're gonna get into that word fiscal. The fiscal, fiscus, because in America they use fiscal, which goes, it's a Roman term. The fiscal year, it goes back to Rome. Even more proof that this is Rome all over again. They use the same terms. It says the Latin on your $1 Federal Reserve note is written in Latin. Novus Ordo Seclorum. I'm sorry, in Nua Coeptus Novus Ordo Seclorum. The official language of the United States is American. Why is there Latin written on the bill? You ain't gonna go to China and get a Chinese dollar. What is that? The yuan or well, it's a yuan. And it's gonna be written in Arabic. No, whatever country, the official language of that country is their documents. Their initial documents are written in that official language. Why is it that the U.S. dollar is, there's Latin written all over, because it's Rome all over again? Fiscal. We're gonna look at that. Fiscal goes back to fiscus, which means basket. It says the fiscus Iudaicus, or that's the way, the Greek way of saying the Lord, or Judah, no J, or Iudaicus. You can say that, start saying that in 1524. Latin for Jewish tax was, and I'm gonna show you why they heavily tax Jake. And I'm gonna show you why. And when I read this, you're gonna think about the movie. If you saw the movie, what's the damn name of the movie? Hunger Games. The people had, called for a revolt against the elite, but the elite had won that, and what they did was they heavily taxed them, and they said, in order for you to receive benefits, you're gonna have to take your children and become gladiators, and if there's 20 of them, they all got to kill each other one by one, and the one man standing or the one woman standing gets all these benefits. And that was like a punishment unto them, because they set up a revolt against the standing government. So the same thing happened back then. That tax was a punishment. It says the fiscus Iudaicus, or Judaicus, Latin for Jewish tax, was a tax imposed on Jews in the Roman Empire after the destruction of Jerusalem and its temple in AD 70. Revenues were directed to the temple of Jupiter, which is Zeus. The Roman equivalent of the Greek god Zeus is Jupiter. Optimus, Maximus in Rome. The tax was initially imposed by Roman Emperor Vespasian as one of the measures against Jews as a result of the First Roman-Jewish War of 66 to 73 CE, which means the CE means a common era. Vespasian imposed the tax in the aftermath of the Jewish revolt. See Josephus BJ7. I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, taxation of the Jews. Why were the Jews unhappy with the Romans? Rebellion in Judea. Although Judea was ruled by the Romans, because it was a province of Rome, the governors there had practiced the same kind of religious tolerance as was shown to Jews in Rome, meaning they allowed you to keep the Passover, the high holy days, wear fringes and so forth, keep the dietary laws. However, Roman, what is that, tactlessness of inefficiency, along with famine and internal squabbles, led to a rise in Jewish dissident. They were going through hard times, so they were going to take it out on Rome. So I looked up the word fiscus, right? Fiscus, like you have the fiscal year, which goes, it's Latin. It goes back to the word fiscus, from which comes the English term fiscal, was the name of the personal chest of the emperors of Rome. In America, you have a GDP, you have the treasury, right? The word is literally translated as basket or purse. Cursed shall be thy what? Thy basket and thy store. And was used to describe those forms of revenue collected from the province, which were then granted to the emperor. Oh, by the way, I put the Idumeans. Look at that. But we don't know what the Idumeans look like. Look at that. Idumeans. Scientists find state of Edom, which they thought was a Bible story. Edomites. Got a red hair, got a kind of a dark red. You can see the skin. They don't look like Chinese to me. They don't have a Korean phenotype. So you don't know what an Edomite looks like. This is what they look like. This is what they look like. Oh, by the way, this is what their God looks like. Looks just like Barry Manilow with horns coming out of his head. Yahweh, which is the tetragrammaton, YHWH, God of Edom, because they first worship, because their parents worship Yahweh. It shows you that Yahweh's name was out there before Moses came on the scene. And they said, no, we're no longer going to follow Yahweh. We're going to follow our own God that looks more like us, named Quas. His name is Quas. Quas with a Q or Quas with a K-A-U-S. Goddesses and gods. New light on the Edomites. Look at the small chin. Let me try something. Barry Manilow. I mean, this guy is a dead ringer. A dead ringer for Quas. Did you see this vocab? Look at the nose. Same small chin. I mean, that's fucking Quas. Same nose, same shrunken. That's quas in the flesh. Look at his nose. You're going to tell me that, oh, that doesn't look, no, that's not an Edomite. This is what an Edomite looks. This is the God of the Edomites. The God of the Edomites. They call it a schnoz, a schnozola. Look at the nose. Look at the sunken chin. That's Barry Manilow, vocab Malone. Same nose, same chin. That's Barry Manilow. The God of the Edomites is Barry Manilow. His name is Quaz. So we know the Edomite looks like. We know they left their bust, their relics. So we know what an Edomite looks like. You can't get around that. Can't get around that. See, in Esau, I guess he's doing more research to see if he's that person. Barry Manilow, Quas. Look at the schnozola. Look at the sunken chin. Got the same shape, head, and all that. This is what if you ever wonder what an Edomite looks like from the past, that's what they look like. Edomites. Scientists find state of Edom, which they thought was a Bible story. And I'm gonna show you something. Okay. Oh, let me do this. Now this heavy taxing back during the time period of 66. That's when this guy was a Caesar, Nero, which that's definitely Trump. My spiritual opinion, that's definitely Donald J. Trump. That's why you can't get rid of that guy. He was a hellraiser back then. He's a hellraiser now. That's Nero. Now, could Biden, Joe Biden, be Vespasian, Titus? Okay, so this right here is the elder out of GMS Las Vegas or Vegas sit downs 144K put this up. He puts up very good videos. His name he's an elder. His name is Karataza. Elder Karataza. So this is a video that he put up of these. They hired almost 90,000 IRS agents and they added teeth to the IRS. The only teeth that they had on the IRS, if you go to Title 26 of the United States Code, the only teeth that they had was on alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So now they're giving us this that, well, there's a separate entity, 7th Division, IRS, CED, Criminal Investigation Department. So they got guns because they have teeth. So you know what I see? I'm looking at them dealing with a lot of middle class people, middle class, working class, people that own restaurants, people that do pretty well for themselves. You know, you got millionaires, you got people that might be worth a couple million, maybe 10 million within the middle class. Their target, I see, but it could be the super rich as well. But the majority of the money will come from the middle class because you can only get so much out of a billionaire. You know, you only have a handful of billionaires, so the real money is going to come from the middle class, the business owners, the people that make businesses, and then working class that have good jobs, you're trying to hide any money, whatever. And this is all centered around the Inflation Reduction Act. It should be called, if you want to be honest, the Inflation Reduction Tax, because in order for them to bring prices down, they got to tax you. So either way, you're gonna be coming out of your pocket. You may not complain about the high prices of chicken, but you're gonna complain about that you're getting taxed. And then you got this group right here, this new group, IRS, CID, the Internal Revenue Service, CID, Criminal Investigation Division. They all armed. They're police, and their thing is to bust in the doors in your houses and see how much money you got. Maybe take your money, part of your money, most of your money, and take you. So what do we see coming down the pike? People ain't gonna want it. They're not gonna have that. So there's gonna be a lot of shootouts in the street with law enforcement. There is gonna be revolts in this country. It only makes sense. If you had a working brain and you see how things operate, you know, when things go bad, people react to it. If there's mass unemployment, crime goes up. You know, if you don't teach morals, crime goes up. So let me see. I don't want to make this too long. Oh, what I wanted to get into, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It says First Jewish-Roman War. This is what I wanted to get into. First time it says Idumeans. It said that the Idumeans, let me read this. Okay, confrontation between the mainly Sadducees, Jerusalemites, and the mainly Zealot factions of the Northern Revolt. And this revolt was because the Romans were heavily taxing them under the command of John of Gish, Sheila, and Eleazar ben Simon, which that might be Eleazar, erupted into bloody violence with Idumeans entering the city and fighting by the side of the Zealots. I said this in previous videos that you had Edomites fighting side by side with Judah against other Edomites, against the Romans and against the Herodian dynasty's men of war, which is personal army. Because they were Edomites that was trying to make it into the kingdom. They were trying to get on the good side of the Most High. But ultimately, are they going to get on the good side of the Most High? No. So let's go down here. following a false message that the Judean provincial government had come to terms with the Roman army delivered by the Zealots to the Idumeans, a major force of some 20,000 armed Idumeans arrived to Jerusalem. It was allowed in by the Zealots, and thus with Idumeans, the Zealots, Judites, and Idumeans entering Jerusalem and fighting by the side of the Zealots. The Edomites are fighting side by side with the Zealots. The heads of the Judean provincial government, and Ananos ben Ananos and Joseph ben Gurion, were killed with severe civilian casualties in the notorious Zealot temple siege, where Josephus reported 12,000 dead. Receiving the news of the carnage in Jerusalem, Simon Bar Giora left Masada. Now you know about Masada. There was a suicide pact, and began pulling Idumea with his royal troops, setting the headquarters in Naan. He met little resistance and joined forces with Idumean leaders, including Jacob ben Susa. So there it is. I said this in previous videos, that there were certain Edomites fighting side by side with the Israelites, the Zealots, namely the Zealots. So does that mean they're going to go into the kingdom of heaven and be rewarded? Nope. They're still going into slavery. You're going into slavery based upon your nationality. So now let's bring this thing up to date. Okay, where am I? Let me go here. Let me come down to about and we're in the fulfillment of Second Ezra's 15 and 16. We're in it. We're experiencing it. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it get worse. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up against another, and swords, which are modern day sword, guns in their hands. But there shall be sedition among men. Now, what's sedition? Sedition means you got an individual that's calling for revolution. So, well, the reason why they're investigating Donald Trump, because the January 6th event, they're pretty much saying that he led that behind the scenes, which is sedition. So they're trying to get him on sedition charges. Look the word up. It says, for there shall be sedition among men. So you're going to have people calling for a revolt, for riots, for retaliation. So it's getting hot, man. It's getting hot. You know, what's going to happen in the next, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, year. I mean, we'll be out of here in 2023. I doubt it's the beginning of 2033. Maybe it's the end of 2023, the end of the year going into 2024. We don't know. But things are hot. Too many things are happening. Too many people got their eyes on the news. You miss a day of activities watching these videos, not just of us, but just guys like, AJ and other alternative media, plus the mainstream media, the breaking news. You find out a lot of things behind the scenes watching these alternative media stations on YouTube. They're cutting a lot of YouTube pages down. People are discovering Odyssey and Rumble and what is this, Rockfin and others. It says, there's many others. It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings or princes. Who are your kings and your princes? A president is a king, right? The king of Babylon, Isaiah 14. Princes, governors, mayors, elected officials. So they're going to put the blame on them. And the course of their action shall stand in their power, meaning the people's power. There's going to be gunfights in the street. You're going to have guards, people. And I see this happening in the Bible Belt down south among these patriots. You're going to hear about gunfights and people coming to serve a summons on somebody and then trapping them, and gunfight ensues. Was Gerald Celente? He says this. He says when there's nothing else to lose, they lose it. So people are about to lose it. They said a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of the pride of the cities shall the pride because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And men shall have no pity upon their neighbor. You run out of food, you find out your neighbor down the block got food, you're gonna bash into that place, and you may get met by gunfire. But shall destroy their houses with the sword, the gun, the modern day sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of what? The lack of bread, no food, and for great tribulation. That's Jacob's trouble. Like I said, when Jacob's trouble, takes when that event takes place, you're not going to ask, is this Jacob? You're going to know it's Jacob's trouble. Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Now I want to go one more precept. This is that I just read was 2nd Ezra 15, and now I'm in 2nd Ezra 16, verse 69. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and a reproach and trodden underfoot. And there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection. That's a great revolt from the inside out upon those that fear the Lord. Because a lot of you Israelites, see, all of us fear the Lord. But you have the elect, then you have the rest of Israel, but they do fear the Lord. But ultimately, it's talking about the elect. Because when Jake wins a Grammy or an Oscar, what do? I like to thank God. Esau doesn't do that. Most Edomites don't believe in a supreme. So they do have some fear of the Lord. But it's mainly focusing on the true believers. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Now, could that be the fulfillment of this? IRS, CID, police. And let me do this. Yeah, so they go whatever they think that you owe, that you trying to not pay taxes for, they're gonna have an enforcement. That's a quick way of doing it. They're gonna come like that's legal. You can call it legalized theft, you know. And they might be right, they might be wrong, whatever the case may be. But they have to. This is the teeth. This is the teeth. See, the alcohol, the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms had teeth. That's why they were militarily trained. IRS overall didn't have teeth to it. They would get you in the court system. But now they've given the IRS, the rest of the IRS, they're giving it teeth. The teeth are the guns. But people are gonna, human nature, they're gonna retaliate. So it's gonna get bad out here. There's gonna be a lot of gunfights going on. Before the missiles take this place out, that's going to be during the time in the midst of Jacob's trouble. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered. Daniel 12. See, none of the churches are talking about this. They just go to church. The pastor does his little sermon and they go and they're happy. Jake don't understand nothing about prophecy. They don't deal with prophecy. They don't touch the book of Daniel. They don't touch the book of Ezekiel. They don't touch the book of Isaiah, Obadiah, Jeremiah, Revelation. They don't touch none. Joel, Zechariah, Zephaniah. How you living? I had to throw that in there. Inside joke from way back in the day. They don't go into that. Jake doesn't go into that. It's about praise, break, dancing, what God did. This is what God did. You speak to any Jake that comes out of the church and ask them concerning scriptures about the prophecy of the Bible. They're clueless. They're clueless. They're clueless. '71, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling. Let me see what the word spoiling means. Spoiling. Spoiling, diminishing, diminish or destroy the value or quality. In this case, it's the money. They're going to take what you got. '71, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. That's evictions. You don't got the money to pay the rent or the mortgage, they're kicking you out the house. You own a house, you paid the house off, you don't pay the taxes, they'll take the house from you, even though you paid the house off. You paid the mortgage. There's a land fee. You see what you're paying for is the house that's on the land. Now you're paying the taxes because you're on that land. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord. Beloved are the elect of Israel. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, a time of Jacob's trouble, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.